I need to type this out because I don't know who else to tell. My wife thinks I'm losing it. Maybe I am. But I know what I saw, and I need someone, anyone, to tell me I'm not crazy. My daughter Lily is 6. She's in that phase where she draws everything. The dog, her teacher, our house, you name it. The fridge is wallpapered in crayon. I love it. Every stick figure with its wild spaghetti hair makes me smile. That's what dads do. We stick the pictures up and we tell them it's beautiful. And we mean it. 3 weeks ago, Lily handed me a drawing of our house. It was good for a 6-year-old. She got the color right, that faded blue vinyl siding we keep saying we'll replace. She drew the red front door, the 2 big windows on the first floor, the 2 on the second floor, and the little round attic vent near the peak. Except she also drew a window on the second floor that doesn't exist. I didn't think much of it at first. She's 6. Kids add stuff. They put chimneys on ranch houses and give dogs 5 legs. I stuck it on the fridge with the ladybug magnet and forgot about it. And she drew the house again 2 days later. Same window, same spot. Between our bedroom and the bathroom, on the east-facing wall. In real life, that wall is just drywall on our side and siding on the outside. No window. Never has been one. I checked the original listing photos from when we bought the place in 2019. No window. I asked her about it. Lily, what's this window here? She didn't look up from her coloring. That's the window where the man watches. I want to tell you my blood ran cold, or whatever people say in these stories. It didn't. I felt annoyed. I figured one of her friends at school had been telling her ghost stories again, or she'd seen something on that damn iPad when we weren't looking. Kids say creepy shit all the time. I have a buddy whose 4-year-old told him, "You were nicer in your last life." Kids are just like that. What man, sweetheart? The man who lives in the middle. I asked her what the middle meant. She shrugged the way kids do when they're done talking about something. Went back to giving a dinosaur purple spots. I let it go. I should not have let it go. Here's some context about our house. It's a 1987 colonial in subdivision outside Raleigh. 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, 2,400 square feet. When we moved in, the previous owners had already gutted and redone the kitchen and both bathrooms. Everything else was original, including, presumably, the layout. The wall Lily keeps drawing the window on sits between our master bedroom and the hall bathroom. On our side, there's a dresser pushed up against it. On the bathroom side, there's the linen closet. I've never given it a second thought in 5 years of living here. After the second drawing, I went upstairs and stood in the hallway. I looked at that wall. It's maybe 12 feet long, running from the bathroom door to where it meets the exterior wall. The linen closet takes up about 3 feet of it. Our dresser is pushed against the bedroom side and covers maybe 4 feet. That leaves about 5 feet of wall that nothing is pushed against on either side. I knocked on it. I don't know why. I think I expected to feel stupid and move on. It sounded different. Our interior walls are standard drywall over studs. You knock on them and you get that hollow thud that everyone knows. This section, the section with nothing on either side of it, didn't thud. It was deeper, flatter, like there was more air behind it than it should be. I told myself it was probably just different insulation. Maybe a duct ran through there. Maybe the stud spacing was wider in that section. Old houses are weird. Ours isn't even that old, but whatever. I rationalized it and moved on. Then I went outside. I don't know what made me do it. Some nagging part of my brain, maybe. I walked out the front door, down the driveway, and turned around to look at the east side of the house. I counted windows. First floor, kitchen window, dining room window. Correct. Second floor, master bedroom window, bathroom window, guest room window. Correct. And about 5 feet of blank siding between the bedroom window and the bathroom window. Just vinyl. No window, no patch, no outline of anything that had ever been a window. But I stood there staring at it. And I swear to God, the spacing was wrong. Here's what I mean. On a house like ours, the windows are evenly distributed. They line up with the rooms behind them, and the gaps between them are proportional. But the gap between our bedroom window and the bathroom window was wider than it should have been. Not by a lot, maybe 2 feet, but once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. 2 feet isn't much on a wall, but 2 feet is enough for something to be between them. I couldn't sleep that night. I lay there staring at the ceiling while my wife Sarah breathed slowly and steady next to me. I kept doing math in my head. Our master bedroom is 14 feet wide. The bathroom is 8. The hallway is 3.5. That's 25.5 feet of interior space. I got up, went downstairs, and pulled up the county property records on my laptop. The house footprint showed the second floor as 31 feet across on the east-west axis. I did the math 4 times. Every time, I got the same answer. There were 5.5 unaccounted feet in that wall. Not 2, not a duck chase, 5.5 feet. At 2 a.m., I went back upstairs with a tape measure. I measured the master bedroom wall to wall, 14 feet, 2 inches. I measured the hallway, 3 feet, 8 inches. I measured the bathroom, 8 feet even. I measured the guest bedroom on the other side. The thickness of the interior walls accounted for roughly another 10 inches total. I was off by 5 feet, 4 inches. There was a space inside our wall that was 5 feet wide, and I had no idea what was in it. I pressed my ear against the drywall in the hallway, the section that sounded wrong. I held my breath. The house was dead silent, that 3 a.m. silence where even the refrigerator feels loud. I didn't hear anything. I think that's what scared me the most, because I was listening for something. And the silence that came back was the wrong kind. You know how you can hear the difference between an empty room and a room where someone is being very, very quiet? It was the second kind. The next morning, I told Sarah. She gave me a look, the one she uses when I'm on my 3rd cup of coffee and spiraling about something I read online at 1 a.m. Bryan, it's an old house. There's probably a plumbing chase or mechanical shaft or something. You're going to tear our wall open because Lily drew a window? She wasn't wrong. Not entirely. Plumbing chases exist. HVAC shafts exist. But 5 feet wide? Every chase I've ever seen in a residential building is maybe 16 to 20 inches. You don't need 5 feet to run some PVC and copper. I called my buddy Marcus, who does contracting work. He came by that Thursday with a stud finder and an inspection camera. One of those little borescope thingies that you snake through a hole. We started in the hallway. The stud finder picked up framing at normal 16-inch intervals across most of the wall. Then it hit a section where it went haywire. The readings were inconsistent, like there was framing, then open air, then something else, then more framing. Marcus drilled a small hole in the drywall about 4 feet up, 1/4 inch, nothing structural. He fed the camera in. He looked at the screen for maybe 5 seconds before he pulled back. "What?" I said. He looked at me with an expression I've never seen on his face before. Marcus is a big dude, built like a linebacker, and he's been doing construction for 20 years. He's crawled through attics with rat infestations and gone under crawl spaces that smelled like something died. Nothing phases him. He handed me the camera without saying a word. The screen showed a narrow space, maybe 5 feet wide, just like I'd calculated. It ran floor to ceiling, rough framing on either side. The camera's LED illuminated raw plywood flooring. No insulation, no pipes, no ductwork. Nothing mechanical at all. It was just a room. A tall, narrow room sealed inside our wall. No door, no window, no access point that we could see from this angle. But that's not why Marcus looked like that. On the far side of the space, pushed up against what would be the exterior wall, there was a chair. A wooden chair, like a kitchen chair. It was facing the interior wall, facing toward our bedroom. And on the plywood floor around the chair, arranged in a pattern I couldn't immediately make out, were dozens of small, dark objects. The camera resolution wasn't great, but I could make out the shapes. They looked like little bundles, little fabric bundles tied with string. "Is that?" I started. "We need to call someone," Marcus said. "Not me. Someone else. I'm not going in there, man. I'm sorry. I can't do that." I didn't understand his reaction until I tilted the camera up toward the ceiling of the space. Scratched into the raw wood of the subfloor above, the underside of our attic floor, were tally marks. Hundreds of them. Organized in neat groups of 5, covering almost the entire visible surface. And below the tally marks, in letters that had been carved slowly, deliberately, with something sharp. I can hear them sleep. I called the police. Of course I called the police. 2 officers came out, and then a detective, and then more people. They opened the wall from the hallway side, cut through the drywall in a rectangle. The smell came first. It wasn't rot. It smelled stale, like air that hadn't moved in a very long time, but also faintly sweet in a way that made my stomach turn. The space was exactly what the camera showed, 5 feet, 4 inches wide. It ran the full depth of the house, about 24 feet front to back, floor to ceiling, framed out with proper studs and joists. This wasn't a gap or an oversight. Someone had built this space on purpose. It was in the original construction. The chair was a standard wooden kitchen chair, the kind you buy at a yard sale for $5. It was positioned facing the wall shared with our bedroom. Directly on the other side of that wall was the spot where our headboard rests. The bundles on the floor were small fabric pouches, hand-stitched from what looked like old cotton. The police collected 26 of them. They wouldn't tell me what was inside. I found out later from a friend at the sheriff's department. Hair. Each pouch contained a small lock of hair, tied with brown thread, different lengths, different colors. Our house had 4 owners since it was built in 1987. That's 4 families, multiple people in each family, people who slept on the other side of that wall, never knowing. The tally marks on the ceiling numbered over 3,000. The detective asked me if I'd ever noticed anything unusual in the house. I said no. And I stopped, because that wasn't true. I'd always wondered why our bedroom door wouldn't stay open. You had to wedge something under it or it would drift shut on its own, slowly, like the house was exhaling. We always assumed the floor was slightly uneven. Old house, settling. But I realize now that the floor wasn't uneven. The wall was. 5 feet and 4 inches of hidden space will do that. The weight distribution of our second floor was asymmetric in a way that no one had ever noticed, and it pulled our bedroom door gently closed, every single time, sealing us in. The police found one more thing that I haven't told Sarah about. On the wall, facing our bedroom, at about chest height, someone had made a hole. Not a big one, maybe the diameter of a pencil. It went clean through the framing, through the drywall, and came out behind our dresser. I moved the dresser, and the hole was there, clean, round, and angled slightly downward, toward our bed. It had been patched on our side at some point with a tiny circle of matching paint. You would never see it unless you know where to look. I've been sleeping 6 feet from that hole for 5 years. The police are investigating. They pulled original building permits and are trying to track down the contractor who built the house in '87. The original owner died in 2004. The second and third owners have been contacted. No one knew about the space. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night. The thing I keep circling back to. Those tally marks, over 3,000. If you assume 1 mark per night, and the neat, methodical grouping in 5 suggests that's exactly how they were counted, that's over 8 years of nights. Our house was built in 1987. The first owners lived here from '87 to '96, 9 years. The second owner, '96 to 2008, 12 years. Third owners, 2008 to 2019, 11 years. And us, 2019 to now, 5 years. 3,000 tally marks don't fit inside any single owner's timeline, but they could fit across several. Which means either someone sealed themselves in that space for 8 straight years, no food, no water, no door, or someone has been getting in and out without any of us ever knowing. I've looked everywhere. There's no hatch, no hidden door, no panel. The space is sealed, framed, drywalled on every single side. The only opening was the pencil-width hole behind our dresser. But the chair wasn't dusty. I keep thinking about that. The bundles on the floor were carefully placed. The tally marks were sharp, not faded. And when they opened the wall, the air that came out was stale, yes. Old, yes. But it was warm. We're staying at my in-laws' place. Lily seems fine. She hasn't drawn the house since we left. I asked her one more time about the man who watches from the window. He's not there anymore, Daddy. How do you know? She looked at me like I'd asked the dumbest question in the world. Because he left when we did. I don't know where we're going to live. I don't know if I'll ever feel safe in a house again. But I keep thinking about those other families. The ones who slept in that bedroom for years, their heads against that wall, while someone sat in a chair on the other side and listened. 3,000 nights. Someone counted every single one. And I think about all those houses in our subdivision. Same builder, same year, same floor plan. There are 46 houses on our street. I wonder how many of them have a window that isn't there.